Well, hi there. Are you an artist who's dealt with art block? Of course you have. Every artist has. And if you try to tell me no, then you're a dirty liar. You know what I'm talking about. When you sit down with a blank canvas or piece of paper ready to draw, but the ideas just aren't coming to you. Or maybe you do have some ideas, but it's just not coming out how you want, and you can't keep yourself motivated. There's no shame in that. It's totally natural for things not to work. Anyway, every artist is affected by art block at some point in their life. So today we're talking about how we deal with that. After all, ideas are easy to come by, but if that's true, then why would we ever be affected by art block? The truth is, art block has nothing to do with your art. Your lack of ideas and motivation comes entirely from your mental state. That's right, art block has nothing to do with art. Whether you're dealing with art block now, or you can think back to when you have in the past, think about what you were dealing with in your life at the time. Were you busy with work? Were you getting enough sleep? And did you have a good diet? Have you been taking part in other activities you enjoy? On this channel, I talk about mental health a lot, and it's something I have a lot of thoughts on if you couldn't tell. I've dealt with my own struggles throughout my life, and I know how easy it is for the little things to creep up on you and make life harder. And as an artist, it can be crippling to your creative state of mind. The times in my life that I've struggled the most with art block has definitely been when I've experienced the worst stress throughout my life. When you're feeling good about yourself, when you're well rested and healthy, art block isn't really an issue. So you need to deal with your mental health before you can be creative. I mean, unless you want to make art representing your negative emotions, which could be an interesting option. But that brings me to my next point. Do you enjoy creating your art? Does it make you happy, or is it just a chore? Over the past year, I've had a full commission queue, which I know sounds like a good problem to have, and is something a lot of artists would definitely want, but I finally had to stop advertising myself and clear out my queue of what I already had, so that now I have none left. That's because I've mostly been working on artworks for other people over the past year, usually drawing things I don't actually enjoy that much, and it's been affecting my love of art. As soon as I finished the last commission in my queue, and I was able to start working on my personal art, my motivation and creativity has soared, and I've made more in the past 2 weeks than I have in the last few months. And this is what I've really come to understand from this. If you aren't in a good headspace, you may come to associate sitting down to create art with negative emotions, which will only worsen your art block. I had someone just recently message me about a commission, and even though I don't want to do more, I wasn't going to turn them down. And immediately I just felt stressed and miserable because I really didn't want to stop doing my own thing now. This isn't to say there was anything wrong with what I was being commissioned to draw, only that it wasn't what I enjoyed to do. So think about what art makes you the most excited to work on. For me, most of my commissions, more so in the past, have been almost entirely FF14 related, and I got so bored of doing only that. It made it really hard for me to be motivated, which just made me less interested in creative overall. There's a lot of artists out there who will only create fan art because they want to create something popular even though they want to do something original. Or maybe you're working in a specific style when you really want to try something new. I've realized that I really enjoy creating colourful artworks, and I really like drawing pretty girls with long flowy hair. I keep getting commissioned to draw men or girls with short hair or hair in a bun. Someone please commission me to do some long pretty hair. So think about what kind of art you would like to be doing, and why don't you share it with me? And while you're down in the comments letting me know, don't forget to also like and subscribe. Wink wink, nudge nudge, hint hint. So now that we know what it is and how it affects us, how can you avoid art block? Well, the obvious would be don't let stress pile up. You need a good work-life balance where you can make time for your art, and if art is your job, make time for other activities to avoid burnout. You need to remember not to let art become a chore for you. Work on what you enjoy. Sometimes you'll have to work on something you aren't as interested in, but I found that most clients are pretty open and willing for artists to express their ideas and experiment with different things. Huge shout out to those clients. I love you guys that say do whatever you want. And related to that, create things for yourself occasionally. Don't worry about how many likes it will get or if it's something you can add to your portfolio. I've found that oftentimes when I'm coming up with a new artwork, I'm thinking, how will this do on social media? Is this something that I can put onto my commission sheet? Can I use this to further my art career? And then it just becomes work. Quite often when I've had a rough day at work now, I like to grab my sketchbook and just doodle some little things in there. Some of them are not great, to put it lightly, but I find it relaxing and fun, and it takes away the pressure when I don't have to worry about what other people will think. And sometimes I come up with something that I end up really liking, and I end up redoing it digitally. So what about if you're already dealing with art block? How do you get out of it? Ideally, you would rather avoid it to begin with. The first step is figuring out what is causing it to begin with and to deal with it. But sometimes, if you've been experiencing it for a long time, it's not that simple to suddenly go back into creating. This is what I said earlier about associating creating art with negative feelings. After an extended period of not being able to draw or it being stressful to you, even if your life is suddenly perfect, you might struggle to get back into it. And as someone who has a lot of experience dealing with anxiety in general, I like the exposure therapy approach. You can try just easing yourself back into it. Set yourself a schedule, such as I'll do 1 hour of art, then take a break, then do another art if you want. You can try something new and simple like sketching in a sketchbook like I mentioned. Maybe if you're just looking for something to draw, get your creative juices flowing, you could try a themed challenge. One that I like to come back to is the flower meanings challenge, where I would draw an artwork based on the meaning of a specific flower and maybe work the flower into it. I also just really like flowers, if you didn't realize. You could redraw some of your old art or something you see online, such as photo references, or you could try a draw this in your style challenge, which seems to be pretty popular on Instagram. I often see a lot of those around. Another thing you can do is set yourself a goal to work towards, such as today I'm going to finish the line work of this artwork. Today I'm going to finish rendering this part of the image. Things like that. And if all else fails, remember to take a break if need be. It's okay to do that. And sometimes it's necessary. It's definitely something I need to remind myself to do quite often, since sometimes I get into a frenzy of just working on my artworks every day to the point that I start to get worn out and I have to take 1 or 2 days off where I just don't do any of it until I'm refreshed and I can think clearer again about it. Art block isn't the end of the world, but it's not something you can just push through. You can't force yourself to be creative or come up with ideas, but there are ways around it. Let me know down in the comments if any of this is helpful to you, or maybe you have your own suggestions to add on. And if you'd like to hear more of my ideas about reigniting your love of art, come and check out my other video here. Mute Discord, thank you.